Welcome back. You're watching Metropole Business Center today as we shed a spotlight on matters agribusiness. Government recently launched, or rather rolled out, the E-voucher system that is going to enable farmers access cheaper farm inputs. Now, in studio today, I have the brains behind this system who's going to tell us much more about this system and just how you can benefit on this system. Thank you so much, sir, for making time for us. I have Kinuthia, Stephen Kinuthia. Karibu sana in our studios.
Thank you.
Now, the E-voucher system, first of all, tell us a little bit about the agriculture. You're heading the agriculture sector agriculture department in Mezzanine. Sure. Tell us a little bit more about, this, the company.
Sure. Thank you, Victoria, for having me. So first of all, just a little bit of background about Mezzanine. Mezzanine is a Vodacom company. And what we do, our priorities is to digitize or to support our sister companies in the digital transformation sector. So what we've done is, of course, now government approached us a couple of years ago and they said they would like to automate the e-voucher or how they give subsidy to farmers. And we wanted to leverage on the technology that we have. So again, as a Vodacom company, so here in Kenya, we are working with Safaricom. So we leveraged on the fact that we've got almost everybody has a SIM card, at least 80% of our citizens have a SIM card. So we're able to deliver the voucher to the farmers. But by and large, what we're excited about is that we've been able to shorten that process from how government allocates subsidy and how it gets to the farmer. So so that's a bit of a background on it.
And you came up with the e-voucher system. How does it work?
So that's a very good question. So how it works is first, the farmer has to be registered and vetted by a government official. Once the farmer is registered and vetted, then based on the rules that have been applied by the Ministry of Agriculture, the farmer will get a voucher, an electronic voucher. So this is simply an SMS that you can receive on any phone, because we always get the query, you're talking about phones, do farmers need to have smartphones? No, they do not. So even the very basic what we call feature phone, or what we call in the streets mulika mwizi, will work just fine. So the farmer, again, based on those rules, will get a voucher. And the rules can be anywhere from which county they are in, which crop they are farming, and how much acreage they have. So if, for example, I'm a coffee farmer in Kiambu, and the government allocates, let's say, 2 bags per acre, and I have 2 acres, the system will allocate me for 4 bags. So all I have to do then is take that voucher and go to a participating agro dealer, and the agro dealer will verify the voucher, just very similar to the alphanumeric number you see on M-Pesa. So what we're excited about recently with the President's directive on using e-voucher is that this has also enabled SMEs to also participate in this program. So what I mean by that is that the local agro dealers or agro vets, as they are known in some places, are actually vetted by the government. And as farmers, they can actually go there and have their vouchers redeemed. So even for the agro dealer, we give them an application. So when the farmer goes there, they simply show their voucher. It is verified and redeemed. Simple as that, and the farmer gets their inputs. So compared to how this used to be some time back, it was a fairly laborious process, because as a farmer you have to be vetted, and there's a lot of paperwork involved. You have to go to your local chief, you have to go to a local bank to deposit money. You have to then, you're not sure if you'll get the fertilizer. Also, I mean, it's an open secret that there was also a lot of malpractice, but today at the CS's or at the principal secretary's fingertips, from his iPad or his from tablet, he can actually see what is going on in real time. So what I mean by that is, if, for example, we had allocated 3,000 bags of fertilizer to Migori, we had allocated 4,000 bags to Homa Bay, he can actually see out of the 3,000 in Migori, 1,500 have been consumed, and they have been consumed by who, and where were they actually consumed. So bringing a lot of efficiency and transparency in this whole process.
You mentioned that to be eligible for this, you have to be registered by government. You be a registered farmer. Is there a limit to how much land this farmer should have?
Yes, so these are rules that are driven by the Ministry of Agriculture. It depends on a lot of factors, on a lot of value chains. And what the Ministry of Agriculture has done is for various value chains, there is a cap. Because the target is what we call the smallholder farmer. And although the definition of a smallholder farmer keeps fluctuating, some people say anybody with 5 acres or less is a smallholder farmer. Some people say 1 or 2 acres. But for government, again, they have, for different value chains or different crops, they cap. But it's safe to say, I mean, the short answer to your question is it's around 5 acres.
Yes. And you are commissioned to come up with this system in 2015, right?
That's correct.
Why did it take so long until now? 2020 is when we see this up and running.
That's a good question. So in 2015, we built the system and we rolled out to 3 counties. And it's the first time this had ever been done in Africa. So we learned a lot of lessons and we then went back and invested heavily on the system. And why it took us so long is that also we have to go through the government procurement process, which sometimes can take a bit of time, which is understandable given the transparency and all of that. So it took a bit of time before we could actually get to where we are. And we're also thankful, again, because of the President's directive, to actually issue fertilizer through E-vouchers, because also I think from a government perspective, they appreciate the efficiency that this is brought in. So that has also helped a bit, maybe I would say fast track in the last few days, but long story short, it's the procurement process that took us a while.
And for someone who's wondering now, if I have this E-voucher, it's purely for fertilizer, because when you say farm inputs, they're different inputs, but then this is specifically for fertilizer?
Thank you. Brilliant question. Actually, no. Government has actually done very well. It has actually extended from fertilizer. They've also included seed. They've also included lime and also agrochemicals. So at least what government is doing is being able to help farmer from all the way from start to finish, because initially we actually witnessed where farmers said, even if you give me fertilizer, I don't have seed, so it's still pointless. But now with seed, fertilizer, agrochemicals, and lime, I mean, it's beneficial for the farmer across the entire value chain.
Yeah. And how much of worth of this voucher is someone eligible to get?
Very good question. So this fluctuates, but for now, what the government is doing is that the government pays for you 40% as a farmer, and you pay the 60%. Right? So an example is, if let's say a bag of fertilizer is 3,000 shillings, the government will pay for you 1,200. You pay for yourself 1,800 shillings. Yes. Yeah.
And we've in a country where technology is quickly picking up, you'll find some people just with their own brains trying to get into this system and manipulating it. How safe is this system to the users?
That's a very good question. So what we've done is, firstly, this is hosted where we host the current citizenry data as Safaricom. It's also hosted in a very similar environment, the M-Pesa environment. We've not had any hacks from that level when you talk at a technology level, but from a malpractice level as well, we've been able to mine some data and monitor data to tell where there is possible manipulation. So I give you an example is, let's say, like I said, agro dealers are the ones the last mile to the farmer. If we notice we have 5 agro dealers in an area, and for whatever reason one agro dealer has sold 1,000 bags while the other ones have sold 10,500, that is an automatic alarm, and you say, okay, can we check? There could be a valid reason, but somebody will actually now literally say, why are we moving more bags of fertilizer in this place? Can we just check? If there is a valid reason, of course, there is not a problem. But if there isn't, then of course we shall pick that up. There are various other ways. There is also very simplified but powerful ways that we are doing this is that all the text messages that go from the platform to the farmer, they are masked with the Ministry of Agriculture label, just like an M-Pesa message. So if you get an M-Pesa message but it doesn't come from M-Pesa, you already doubt it. So we're also educating our farmers that to only accept messages that come from the platform and how they are masked.
And there's also the warehouse receipt system. How does this correlate with the warehouse receipt system?
That's a very good question. So what also we've done, and again, it's the lessons that we learned, and that's part also of why it took a while to between 2015 and now, is that we took all the various components that would be required to empower the Ministry of Agriculture to be able to serve farmers in various ways. I forgot earlier to talk about one module which we call the E-extension module. So the E-extension module helps the farmer as well to get messages from the Ministry of Agriculture for good practices and so on. Then there is also a module that we call the stock management module. So the stock management module can actually help government to whereby farmers, when they deliver their produce, they get a receipt as well in the form of an SMS. So for example, we say, dear farmer Victoria, we have received your 10 bags of maize, which are the equivalent of, let's say, 20,000 shillings, for example. So you can use that as collateral while your maize is maintained in a warehouse. You can also not use it as collateral and wait till the price is right, because as we have seen for the very longest time, agriculture has been deemed to be not profitable, especially for the smallholder farmers, because of volumes and because of when it's time to harvest maize. There's so much maize out there there's so much maize out there in the market. So with the warehousing and the stock management module within the system, we can also help farmers to be able to hold their maize and sell when the price is right, or at least even get collateral. Maybe let's say I need to pay for my, as a farmer, I want to pay for school fees for my children. I can say out of the 10 bags I have, I can get a loan. And I'll pay when the price is right.
And currently, how many farmers are on this platform already as we talk?
At the moment, there are just a little bit under 500,000 farmers, but again, with a view to grow that to a bigger number. We are now, just recently, we've gotten a directive to add a bit more counties. We are talking about that. We're excited about that. So the more counties we have, then we expect the number of farmers to go up.
And as you say that, I'm sure there's a farmer who's thinking, well, I need to be on that platform. What's the process of getting into your platform? Very
good question. The very first point for the smallholder farmer is your local extension officer. So I know because again, there's probably a bit of a shortage of extension officers. So people may say, I don't even know who's my local extension officer. So you can contact your local county agriculture department. They will always point you towards now who's your local extension officer. Yes, they call them WAOs, which is Ward Agriculture Officer. So your local extension officer will register you. If it is in one of the counties that we've already rolled out, they will register you immediately on the platform. If it is not, they will take your details, because this is a process that, again, we are doing county by county. And then eventually, when we get to that county, you will be onboarded onto the system. But that's not to say that government subsidy is still not going out there where we've not reached. It's just that, again, we are rolling this out county by county.
So like you said, right now we are at slightly over 500,000. What's the target?
The target, I believe the target is 5 million. Eventually, we want to get to all smallholder farmers. Yes.
Because I know currently the ministry does not have the exact number of farmers. I mean, they were in the process of getting farmers registered. So we currently don't know how many farmers we have in Kenya.
Absolutely. So that's actually one of the benefits of the system. And we've said, we realized that when you ask how many smallholder farmers there are in Kenya, it depends on who you ask that question. You ask one department, they'll say 5 million. You ask another one, they say 10 million. They ask another one, they say 3 million. And it's because of a lot of maybe double counting. And I'm not faulting anybody here. I'm just saying it was flawed in the way it was done before. If, let's say, the smallholder farmer in Kenya and across Africa does not farm one agriculture value chain. So if I have maize, let's say I have 5 acres. 2 acres I'll put maize, 1 acre I'll put beans, then 1 acre I'll use it for my dairy cattle, and then 1 acre I probably will do, I don't know, let's say sugar cane. So what happens is that when the livestock people come and they count in the farmers, they will count me as a farmer.
Yeah.
And then when somebody else from a different value chain comes in and then say, Stephen is also a farmer. So when you amalgamate that data, you find that maybe farmers are sometimes double counted. But with the system now, we've given the Ministry of Agriculture the capability to, when an agriculture officer goes and tries to register Stephen again, the system says, no, they are registered. But you can say he's not only a maize farmer, but he's also a dairy farmer. He's also a maize farmer. So you can add all of these profiles to the farmer. So this is one of the benefits. We're all looking forward to this at some point, maybe get the real data, because everybody, again, like I said, when you ask how many farmers there are, it depends on who you're asking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What would you point out to be the shortcomings, or rather the challenges in this system?
I think I don't know if I would call it as a challenge per se, but I would say the risk that we need to manage is the incremental change in adopting the technology. There are various actors within, like I said, in the journey that interact with the system. Not only the farmer, but also there's the extension officer, who a lot of them have largely worked manually. That's number one. So managing that change in terms of adoption. And then number two, which we are mitigating very well, is coverage, because of course you also do need coverage, both for the agro dealer. They will need internet access to be able to verify the voucher for the farmer. And of course the farmer, again, just sends and receives an SMS, which can go on 2G. And on 2G on the Safaricom network, I think that is over 90% coverage in Kenya. So that's easily mitigated. So those are the two main ones that we try to review from time to time. Yeah.
Now we are on taking technology to another level in agriculture. What next?
What next? I would say is precision agriculture. So we've been able to solve 5 main problems in agriculture by using technology. The lack of information, such as what we were talking about, the number of farmers. A lot of banks, insurance companies also wanted to work with smallholder farmers, but they don't know how to get the right information to be able to work with them. For example, if I'm an insurance company, how do I insure a smallholder farmer for 2 acres of maize, so that if let's say there's an outbreak of fall armyworm, they can get compensated for. So we are resolving the information bit, and then B, the financing bit, which I also talked about, by using the information that we get, and then C is also now, with all of this data, our local counties and our local governments or farmer groups can start having conversations where they negotiate on behalf of the farmer, because now they have centralized data. So what I mean by that, Victoria, is, for example, again, sticking with Migori as an example, if let's say I can see all the farmers who are farming sweet potatoes in Migori, and I can see that from the data I have, about 10,000 acres are under sweet potato, there's nothing that stops the CEC of Agriculture in Migori to actually have a conversation even with a company abroad and say, I can supply you with 200 metric tons of sweet potato, because again the data is there. So access to market is also another thing. Then lastly, which is I think for us the cherry on the cake, is also we want to now start leveraging on things like what we call precision agriculture. So precision agriculture is where I'm able, because I have these farmers' data, and as we register them, we actually also collect their geo coordinates of their farm. I can be able to precisely tell the farmer it will rain on Wednesday, so please plant either on Monday or Tuesday. So today it is, you know, what I think in Swahili we call patapotea. It's I'm not
Kubahatisha.
sure. Yes, kubahatisha. It might rain, it might not. So the disadvantage of that is that you put your seed in the ground a bit too early is not too good. You put it too late, you also lose out on. It's not also good. So that's just a very simplistic example in terms of what precision agriculture can do, but it can do massive, massive things, and we're excited about that. From Vodacom and Mezzanine perspective, we're actually doing this in South Africa, but the difference with South Africa and the rest of Africa is there are more larger farms. There's more commercial farming compared to the rest of Africa. So they don't have a lot of smallholder farmers. So all those lessons that we are learning from what they are doing over there, we are seeing now how can we now also bring this to smallholder farmers.
Definitely an innovation to look forward to right here in Kenya. And
Sure.
as we finish this, Steve, you said that you're going to roll out this in more counties. Which are these counties the farmers should be looking forward to?
So I can't talk about that because it's not finalized. That's it's the Ministry of Agriculture to publicize that. But at the moment, where we are in 12 counties, excuse me if I can't remember all of them on top of my head, but I know there is Embu, I know there is Uasin Gishu, I know there is Nandi, there is Elgeyo Marakwet, there is Bungoma, I know there is also Nyeri. And I think I've also, and Meru as well. But we will publish, this information is actually published on the Ministry of Agriculture website. So it is public information, yes.
Yeah, so the farmers just go look. If if you're in our county, then go look out for the the right people and get registered on this system. Definitely that's a system that every farmer definitely will be looking forward to get into and benefit from this cheaper farm inputs.
Sure.
Thank you so much for making time for us. That is Stephen Kinuthia, the head of agriculture in Mezzanine, speaking to us about the E-voucher system that is helping farmers access cheaper farm inputs. Definitely that's something that a farmer will be interested to get to know. That's how we end our show today. Thank you so much for making time for us. We'll be right back next week for another edition of Business Center focusing on matters agriculture. I've been your host, Victoria Munga. Have a blessed day.